The Jodan Uke is the first block we learn in karate. We block something that is aimed from top to bottom towards the head. The final position is such that the upper arm is held diagonally. The fist is above the head and the elbow is approximately at eye level. To ensure that the sensitive vessels are not exposed, in case someone attacks with a knife, for example. Instead, we hold the arm in a way that, in the worst-case scenario, the bones would be hit. That provides stability and protects against dangers. The rotation in the upper body is slightly backward to ensure additional stability. The rear arm is in hikite. And when executing the next technique, we start by positioning the upper arm vertically. The lower arm then moves towards the elbow. My arms always touch each other, so I know exactly where I am. Then we move the lower arm upwards and pull the front arm back, together with a rotation. Thus, we are back in the next final position. When we perform this block, we pay attention to the fact that the muscle belly leads the way and at the end, a slight rotation occurs. Not too much, but gently, to provide an additional impulse there. The preparatory movement for Jodan Uke, where one sets the arm vertically and then initiates the movement, serves to protect oneself on one hand and, on the other hand, to preparatorily lever out and free oneself if one has a grip on the arm. With a partner, it looks like this. He holds my arm, I make the preparatory movement, and one can see that this is already an uncomfortable movement for him. From here, I could easily free myself, but I choose not to do so now. Instead, I transition into the position, place my arm underneath, and have the touch of Jodan Uke. With my muscle group and now make a scissor movement, by pulling back my right arm and moving the left arm up into the Jodan Uke. If I were to do the whole thing without rotation, then I would have far too little strength to free myself from a good grip. I can hardly manage it. With the rotation, on the other hand, I harness all the energy from my body center, and that gives me the necessary strength to free myself. That works just the same on the other side. We free ourselves. Or one can also do it crosswise, by holding me with the other hand. Also, this is uncomfortable for him, however not as uncomfortable as the parallel movement. But here too we can free ourselves. After my Jodan Uke, he can also hold me. And if I now make the preparatory movement up here and try to free myself, I cannot develop the strength I need. That's why it's important to bring down the upper arm. Here I have much more strength, and for him, it is also a more uncomfortable position again, as if the arm had stayed up. From here, the rotational movement is much easier, and I have more power to execute the block. The diagonal final position of Jodan Uke is designed so that I do not have to absorb all the force, as when holding the arm horizontally. Instead, by the slant, I can redirect the force and thus have to deal with a little less direct impact. If he attacks me, if I perform this block in a slanted manner, it will slide off diagonally, instead of having to absorb the full force if I were horizontal.